So this was my ticket back to the big show. I wanted to prove to myself, I wanted to prove to my wife that I meant to be here. I was a good fighter. I wanted to be elite, and Follis was helping me get there. And there was a side of me that wanted to prove that Follis was the coach that he says he is. And so this came to a head. We are in this big fight here in Vegas, and in the fourth round, Gilbert threw a big looping punch, hit my jaw, grazed it barely, but it shattered my jaw. My jaw was in pieces and it was hanging. I was bleeding everywhere. And my dream of coming back to the big show, the door just slammed shut in my face. I walked out of the cage and I managed to talk to my wife, and I told her that I need to go to the hospital. I think I'm done. My name is Bristol Marunde. I'm an MMA fighter. I fought in the UFC. I was on The Ultimate Fighter season 16. Long since then, I've been busy remodeling houses. My wife and I, we have a TV show on HGTV called Flip or Flop Vegas, where we buy the worst house on the block, flip it, do the renovation, and sell it for a profit. I discovered MMA really when my older brother pushed me into it. He said, "I've been punching you for years and you can take a hit. You should definitely try this." And back when I first started in 2004, MMA was pretty new. It was still really underground. So I had to look and find the promoter over in Seattle, and I called him up and told him I wanted to try fighting. And I had really no experience. I'm not much of a street fighter, and this was all new to me. I was scared to hell to go out there. I couldn't believe it. I was the second fight in the fight card. I walked out, I smashed the guy, knocked him down, hit him on the ground, and since that win, I've been hooked ever since. Winning an MMA fight, it's just hard to describe. Let me just put it in these terms. I've done a lot since fighting. I've flipped a lot of houses, made a lot of money. My wife and I, we do tremendous things with our business and my family, and I can make $100,000 on a house, a flip, and those things are exciting, they're great. But guess what? It just doesn't compare to winning a fight. There's something about it, that adrenaline rush, that attraction, that focus, something that just grabs your attention. Nothing else compares to that. I've tried everything. Nothing compares to winning an MMA fight. And once you get that feeling, you'll always be chasing it. MMA in the early 2000s, it was a trip. I fought outside one time when it was raining. We just put on wrestling shoes. That was outside of a Mexican restaurant. Definitely not sanctioned. I also fought in a lot of convention centers, homemade cages. There was no hand wraps. I'm surprised we even used gloves. First walked into Extreme Couture back in 2008 when I moved to Las Vegas. It was amazing. I saw Wanderlei Silva sparring Forrest Griffin, and I'm pretty sure they even knocked each other down 2 or 3 times. There was definitely non-sanctioned, exciting fights to watch. Fighting's an interesting thing. You can lose a fight, and after that, you're kicking yourself for however much time, and you want to come back and you win. So the motivation is not always money. It's not always fame or money, but you want to win. You want to end that last fight on a win. So you're always coming back to that last fight. And unfortunately, fighters like myself, especially back in the day, we became too personal, and we just are so close to the fight game, and it becomes extremely harmful when you lose, and just elation, just pure joy when you win. And if you can balance those two things, I think you can do a lot better. So after I lost a fight, it was all I could think about. I became obsessed, and then I would go on and have a big win streak. Robert Follis, him and I were extremely close. He moved to Vegas, and I met him. I met up with him at the gym, and I've known him for years because we're both from the Northwest. I used to fight against his guys back in Portland, so we knew each other very well. I got the call from Strikeforce, "Hey, do you want to fight Jacare Souza next weekend?" And stupid ass me, of course, I said, "Hell yeah, I'll fight him." I stepped in the cage, and I said, "Wow, this guy is pretty ripped." I'm like, "Man, he looks huge. How the hell did he make 185? So we started fighting, and it was on. I felt actually pretty good. I had him on the cage and everything was good. We stepped back and I threw a big overhand right, and pow, he lit me up and dropped me. Turned out he broke his hand on my face. I shot him for a takedown and survived some submission attempts, and I took him all the way to the third round. And hey, it was a good fight. I did everything I could do, and he'd been finishing guys in the first round. So I felt like, it was a victory coming off of a week's worth of training. And I felt like, look, I've had losses before, I'll recover. My experience with the Ultimate Fighter was probably different than some other guys. I already had a house, I had a pool. I lived in Vegas at the time going into the house. So for me, honestly, it was a downgrade. I wanted to get the hell out of there as soon as possible. There's guys in there, I was sleeping on a bunk bed. I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I here? Yes, I did enjoy the aspects of not having any responsibilities. That was fun. But at the same time, I thought, I'm fighting for free 3 times in a week. I got stitches in my face. I'm trying to cut weight. I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? It didn't seem like a very good business decision to fight for free. Man, when I was on the Ultimate Fighter and Julian Lane, he lost it. It was actually after we fought. He was going nuts. To this day, I've never heard anybody scream that loud. The guy has a voice on him. It was wild. We couldn't believe he was legit lost his mind. He was throwing big glass mugs at the wall. He was going crazy. We were legit scared. Like going into that room, we were trying to calm him down because not one of us was going to sleep that night. There's no way you could lock those doors. He'll bust it in. We were afraid for our lives. So the only thing we could think of was, let's go try to calm him down, talk him down from the edge, because he's going to hurt himself or someone else. Neil Magny and I were on the same season, and we were good friends. He slept in the bunk below me, and we became great friends. I taught him how to cook. I taught him how to swim. I couldn't believe it. The guy he's from Chicago. He didn't know how to he was not a domestic guy. And so I had to teach him everything. And so I kind of took that role of being his friend, and then Dana White says, all right, he called out the names. Who's going to fight who? Bristol Marunde's going to fight. I was expecting the other team, and he said Neil Magny. And it really threw me off. At that time, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, I don't want to fight my friend. I don't want to fight this guy. He's the nicest guy in the world. I can't even picture myself punching him. But it turned out, and he lit me up with some strikes, and I couldn't get in on him, and he ended up outpointing me. And hey, he's doing great in the UFC. I love the guy still. To this day, we're friends. Going from MMA fighting to Home and Garden Television, it was a big turn. They actually contacted me. My wife and I, they saw some pictures of those posting online, and they liked our personalities, and they actually interviewed us and flew us out to headquarters. They courted us, and they sold the show to us. I didn't want to do it at first. Told them I already did the reality thing, and I got punched in the face. And they said, we promise you no one's going to punch you in the face. You're the star of the show. It's going to be great. So 3 seasons in of Flip or Flop Vegas, everything's great. Business is booming. Couldn't ask for anything better.